if I lose all control and take a step out into the unknown? Oh, oh, oh. What do I know? Surprise. I'd rather want you to just let me be. Oh, oh, oh. What do I know? What's going on now? Is this another breakdown? You and me, should I let go? I do really want to know what's going on now. Is this another breakdown? You and me, should I say so? We're just putting on a show. Come on, get a grip now of all the ways we parted.
Welcome back to another Ab Nation Live Tonight show with hockey coach, your coach Francis, directly for beautiful country of Thailand. And we have to go all the way to find our co-host back with me again, Mr. Enartap. Welcome in the house tonight.
Hello, Coach. Hello, Hockey Nation. Hope everyone's doing well.
Hopefully they do. First of all, we have a special. Why we have a special? Because the Carolina Hurricanes just started the game. Not because of that, but because we decided to do the game between the Dallas Star and the Seattle Kraken a little bit later tonight at 9:30 Eastern Time. So we decided to do just a reviewing what's going on with hockey. Let's talk hockey. That's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to have some talking about the draft. We're going to talk about the Montreal Canadiens and then the playoff. And they have a special subject, Mr. Enartap, the Toronto Maple Leafs at the end of the show. So stay tuned until to the end. We're going to carry on this between 60 to 75 minutes. You have an opportunity to have any question. Put the little Q, guys. We're going to go through your question. We're going to flow this hour just to have a good time all together. And just because we love to talk about hockey, so why not to take advantage of what we got there? It's going to get a bit more slower, Mr. Enartap, because the round number 2 is going to be complete, I believe, it's on the weekend, maybe at the beginning of the next week. And that will open up some night. We're going to go back here with the Ab Nation Live Tonight show, maybe a little bit more. Of course, Sunday morning, 11 o'clock Eastern Time, the Ab Brown is going to be back, Mr. Enartap, this week. So we're going to talk about more about hockey. So Carolina in New Jersey is 1-1 at the beginning of the second period, and now Carolina is all over the New Jersey Devils. They will face to elimination tonight. We'll see if they can consist game number 6 or they'll be over for them. And the Canada are going to move round number 3 from Raleigh, North Carolina. So we want to thank everybody to be a part of the show. First of all the moderators. But let's further ado, Mr. Enartap, to welcome one by one very quickly the people we have tonight. Before you talk about hockey, can't wait to have your comments tonight. Mr. LH is in the house tonight. Welcome back, Mr. LH.
Welcome, LH.
Moderador, Mr. Latap, Luciano Graziano. Prepare the lunch for the brunch for Sunday. You have some kind of menu. I'm going to maybe helping you about this, Mr. Latap. You're going to be full and feed up very well Sunday by Luciano, the chef from Ontario. King of Gamer, Mr. Latap, knock the door tonight. King of Gamer, welcome back in the house. Of course, our friend,
going,
our
Justin?
best friend, Mr. Natap, RJ Calabro from New Jersey.
Hey, RJ, welcome.
Notre ami dans la région d'Ottawa, en Ontario, Monsieur Claude Richard, il est de retour.
Welcome, Claude.
Mr. Natap, you know, we talk all the time about that. No deal, deal or no deal, but we have the real deal. That's the most important thing. We have the real is back.
Welcome, Rio.
What about KLS? Sit at home watching the Carolina Hurricanes to try to eliminate the Devils. He's excited about that. I think he's at the game. I thought he was at the game tonight, but I think maybe another game. I'm not sure. I maybe lost that one over there, Mr. Natap. But we'll see what's happening. KLS is in the house. Welcome back, KLS.
Welcome, KLS.
Luc Laverson, Mr. Natap. You have a day off today, so you don't know what to do. So why not to see Coach Frenchy and Natap together? I'm wasting my time anyway to just look around on the internet. So why not to get some kind of great content? So Luc Laverson, tune on. He have everything set up. He prepared the lunch the next couple of minutes for tomorrow morning. And then he have everything around him to set up. Welcome back,
Mon
Mr.
ami,
Luc.
Luke. Mon ami, bienvenue.
My friend William McClary is in the house, Mr. Natap.
Hey, William. How's it going?
And when Mr. Renegade Man 83 is in the house, asking you about the suspension and the rest, we're going to get there the next couple of minutes. Stay tuned, guys. It will be one of the first 5 minutes we're going to talk about this. So stay with us and Mr. 83. We have two questions back to back. Going to get that one in about this. Mr. LH, any concern about the Caulfield contract? We're going to get there the next 15 minutes. So stay with us. And then there have been a conference between Owen Beck and Shane Wright. What do you see this? Do you think Owen Beck has the tool to be a top 6 player in Montreal? It's funny you talk about this. Every day, Mr. Nathan, we talk about the app Daily News. We just talk about this on the off live before we start the show. And one of the subject I did yesterday, it was Owen Beck over Shane Wright. I do those show recording. I maybe do a 20-minute, then I cut. And it was one subject about Owen Beck, and then I decided to stop this one. I removed that one, but I read that one where Bob Arkley, for ex-coach in NHL, work on the French station, the morning 98.5, and from two sources, watch the OHL a lot, and they are really into the OHL, been in the hockey for many years, and they really into the scouting, everything like that. Compare Owen Beck better at Shane Wright. So it was really interesting subject. So I removed this from that. I think it would be a little bit better to talk about this maybe at the app brunch Sunday morning. But they have two people mentioned. Owen Beck is a more complete player versus Shane Wright. So they're really impressed. We know Owen Beck right now have an amazing, great playoff series right now with OHL. A little bit like Nick Zuski. He really carry on the Peterborough piece on his shoulder. Whatever, Peterborough have an amazing, great team. Right now, they are going to play the final of the OHL against the London Knight, against Logan Mailloux. With that, what Pat said, now I said, Mr. Natap, is what I do is going to be at the Memorial Cup next year for this year at 2023. So what I do is going to play at the Memorial Cup. We know last year, Kenan Cooley, it was at the Memorial Cup. So we're interested about that, but what you did not answer, because I want to give back a little bit later, Mr. King, about Owen Beck. I'll just give you the story about this, Mr. Natap. And I don't know if you have anything you want to add about that.
No, well, I'm sure we'll hit on this topic as we get through.
Yeah, perfect. We can say that about that.
We'll talk about it then.
Which thing do you think Miska will land at the 2023 NHL? Mr. 83, Mr. 83, he just read my script on the show. He always see everything what I want to talk about the next couple of minutes. So he said, Coach, talk to me right now. I said, yes, we're going to talk about this the next couple of minutes. Will be interesting. Do you see the Norlander been expendable or will be the trade give a chance? Now we have two players left, the Montreal Canadiens, Frédéric Allard and Otto Leskinen. Two players for the Montreal Canadiens decide to leave the Laval Rocket. That open up a little bit more space for the goaltender, for the defenseman, Norlander. He battled with a lot of injury for the last 3 years. Now, I think he will continue to be a part, but if you have a deal where possible Norlander could be involved, it will happen. I think you have other players like on the left side, example, William Trudeau, one of them, Baudin, talk about possible Engstrom and Lane Hudson are really under my opinion on in front of them, in front of him for the depth shot. So that'll be the best answer I can give you, Mr. 83. Mr. Natap, I'm sure you're ready now. Say, Coach, stop to talk. I want to talk too. That's all right. Don't worry. It's coming right now. The NHL News Trophy, Mr. Natap, the trophy, the NHL News Trophy and the suspension. So I'm going to bring you here, Mr. Natap. I have 3 nominations happening today for the Vizina Trophy. Not surprisingly, any of them are not surprise for me. Ullmark, Sorokin, and Hellebuck. I want to hear from you what you think about those 3 nominations from the NHL for the award Vizina Trophy.
Well, first thing we have to always keep in mind with these awards, Coach, is that it's based on their regular season record and is regardless of what they accomplish in the playoffs or don't accomplish. So having said that, you're right. Absolutely that there's no surprise there with the 3 nominees. But given the record and everything that he did this year, I would definitely give it to Ullmark. He had a career year in every aspect. That's not to say that the other 2 didn't have great years as well, but I think that with Boston's season and what Linus Ullmark did for them to help accomplish those records, he's my unanimous winner.
Yeah. Great point about this. I think there are 3 of them, Hellebuck, Sorokin, and Ullmark. I think they make an impact for the team. Winnipeg Jets have a good year overall with Hellebuck. Sorokin make the Islanders always better. It was at the beginning of the year. I know Sorokin is going to be the winner of that one over there. I could be wrong. I think Ullmark is going to get it because the amazing year they have. Unfortunately, fall apart at the playoff. But we're not going to remember that. It will be remember what he accomplished during the year. What he become one of the goalie with less of 2.00 goal against average. So I think Ullmark is going to get there. So you really need it about this, Mr. Nata. We welcome back a couple of people. We have Mr. Dan is in the house. Ullmark for sure for Luciano. There we go. Again, KLS said the reason that Islanders made the playoff, Mr. Nata, because Sorokin. You always talk about the Islanders many times, and you always talk about Sorokin.
Well, I mean, if you look at especially Winnipeg and the Islanders, I mean, the main reason why they made the playoffs is because of those 2 gentlemen right there. I think without them, they would have had a hard time getting a wild card position. As we know, that both in the East and the West, there was a close call. You know, Pittsburgh missed out, I think, by 2 points. And in the West, I think Calgary was missed by 2 points as well, 1 or 2 points. So, I mean, just the extra wins that those guys can create for you is what's the difference between making the playoffs or not.
Yeah, you know, a funny thing about KLS said all 3 are got eliminated in first round.
Absolutely.
That's a great point.
One a bigger surprise than the other 2.
Yeah,
you're right.
Second point, Mr. Nata, we're going to talk about the trophy Lindsay Award. This for the ascending, Mr. Nata. About this, the Devils just scored, Mr. Nata. Timo Meier scored. The lead back. I think it was on the power play. It looked like, but I'm not sure. Kotkaniemi looked like he did something wrong. So I don't know. Yeah, no, it was a Kotkaniemi at the penalty box, Mr. Nata. So the turkey, it was in the box. Just kidding.
The turkey was in the fridge.
The outstanding player, Mr. Natab, that Lindsay, is about Eric Carlson, Connor McDavid, and David Pastrnak. Each one of them did something amazing. Talk about 100 points per the defenseman. You have to go all the way to Brand Leach. Then we talk about 150 points. This you have to go all the way to the Wayne Gretzky, I believe. And then David Pastrnak, one of the rare players, scored 60 goals in NHL. They accomplished something unique. And then something where they make their team better. Already Boston, what they accomplished. Already Edmonton was the one with McDavid. And Eric Carlson, obviously for San Jose, but still rare to see a guys. I don't know. I feel like it's 38 or 42% of the point of Carlson, all the point and for the goal and the San Jose Sharks. It's pretty impressive about him.
Yeah, I mean, we haven't seen those kind of numbers in quite a while that Eric Carlson produced this year, as we know. So that was indeed one heck of an accomplishment. But if I had to throw my vote, it would be towards Connor McDavid. I mean, it's not that often that we see 150 points in the season. And keep in mind that he slowed down a little bit towards the end of the year, and he's been playing through some nagging injuries as well that haven't really come out too loudly. And we know what the reasons for that are, especially still being in the playoffs. I mean, Edmonton's the only team of those three that are still in that position. So I definitely would give it to Connor McDavid. I think this year he sort of put the team on his shoulders and said, "Follow me," and lo and behold, they're still there.
Yep, you're absolutely right about that. Will be interesting, the outstanding. What will be the winner of that one? Mr. Nathan, I'm going to move on about something happening right now in NHL. First of all, Daniel Nurse got Daniel. I said Daniel. Daniel Nurse got suspended one game. Is his cousin, by the way. Got suspended for one game, and it was announced yesterday, a couple of hours ago. And then we confirmed the NHL looked like they fined only Alex Pietrangelo. So let's put both them together. So I want to get your first comments about this announcement from the NHL. Daniel Nurse one game suspended, and Pietrangelo only fined, and maybe the late check of kudos at the end of the day. So shocking? No. Surprise? No. Okay? No. I don't know. Tell us what you think.
Well, in Darnell Nurse's case, like if you look strictly at the interpretation of the rule, I mean, he was the third man into that incident, and I mean, you can make many arguments as to why he jumped in and the reasons. I mean, I will not dispute that, because I think I probably would have done the same thing in terms of protecting teammates. But if you go strictly by the rule of the law of the rule itself, and you take the literal interpretation, he was in that category. The one that really surprises me is Pietrangelo, because to me that was a deliberate two-handed check, or not check, but swing with a stick, and you could say with intent to hurt Draisaitl. And was almost very successful in doing so, which would have devastated Edmonton's chances of, going forward. So to receive just the maximum fine for that, which is $3,000, which it's a drop in the bucket for them. It just doesn't seem right to me. I think it merited, at the very least, if you want to start talking about, what's the equivalency of a suspension during the regular season versus the duration in a playoff season, he should have got at least one game. But that's their decision. And Gudas, I mean, that was pretty.
Okay, let's say that Pietrangelo got one game suspension now.
Is it changed? Has it been changed?
Yeah. So we know earlier, Mr. Nata, we talked each other. He told me he was going to be fine about that. I just want to go back on the website. And the website
if he got a game, that's appropriate.
what happened to on the website, and the shirt is not there. I don't have I don't want to use my phone when I'm talking, so I don't get distracted. But if someone can confirm
Yeah.
with KLS, Predators got 1 game suspension. That'll be great on the Twitter. That'd be awesome. Thanks so much, Ray, about this. We have a few people. Yes, 1 game, so it's confirmed now. I think Predators got 1 game suspension. So thanks so much for all the update right there. So that helping us to keep updated. That's the beauty of what we do here, Mr. Tap. When we are live, we cannot checking everything, but people in the chat bring some kind of news. So glad to hear that. So Pedangelo get 1 game, Nurse get 1 game, and what do you think overall now? We'll go to retract. You're going to delete everything you just said about Pedangelo.
No, not at all, Coach. I mean, I think that's much more appropriate. I was more appalled by the fact that I had heard, and again, sometimes we always have to be very careful what we say, because unless all the facts are there, we can't just jump ahead and make an assumption. In this case here, he gets a game. I think that's fair play. This way, it's pretty much just a saw off between himself and Pietrangelo and Nurse, both receiving a game. And I guess they decided to take that option. I mean, I could see more than 1 game. I can see a case being made for more than 1 game, but I guess the unwritten rule, and I'll say it again, once you're in the playoffs, is that what's worth twice as much in the regular season is halved in the playoffs. So call it a 2-game suspension, which has been changed to a 1-gamer because it's playoffs time. Gudis was a little bit more obvious, right? I thought that could have been heard as well, and could have earned him a 1-gamer, because it was totally from behind. It was against the boards, cross check to the numbers themselves, and it could have easily.
You have many
warranted
things
a
you
game.
can give him to many things you can give him to him, like you said, roughing, boarding. You can
Yeah.
go all the way like that, charging if you want to go
But
all the way
nothing.
that way if you want to. You see him in the corner. He look at him all the way, and he never tried to stop everything like that. My biggest concern about this was the referee, because I explained yesterday, Mr. That he already gave a penalty right now to the
Gudis.
Toronto Maple Leaf player Brody for holding, I believe, right? So why not to leave a message for the rest of the game and how you manage the game as a referee? So you know what? Let's go kudos out right now to show people, hey, you cannot do those stuff like that. I'm not penalizing anything right now as an advantage for any team. I just go back 4 versus 4. So for me, it was the reaction of the referee as a management of the game. It was a little bit my disappointment about that case over there. And I think it will be more appropriate. Unfortunately, he did not do it. He gave the power play again so sometime. I understand it's a quick game. I understand it's a bang decision sometimes, but still, if you see this right now, if he was gave the penalty to Kudos without Brody, I can understand a little bit the referee mindset, right?
Yeah.
But the fact they already have a penalty to Toronto, why not to square this at 4 versus 4? And I'll just give a
Absolutely.
message you want to leave behind that for that action.
Yeah, and if you do that early enough in the game, the players learn to adapt based on what they're seeing called or not called during the game. So to do, this was later on in the game, and I just thought that was a cheap shot and shouldn't have a place in the NHL.
It's funny because you talk like this, a chip shop. You have players playing on the edge, right? You talk about Trouba all the time. Kudos has been that way for
Absolutely.
many years now, with Washington, with Flyers, and now with the Florida Panthers. And I don't say he's a bad guy, but what he does on the ice. So back to Pietrangelo for me. Great point by William when he said that what happening if Draisaitl get hurt or a broken arm. That was my question. I was going to ask you about this. For me, it's a minimum 2 game for Pietrangelo, whatever is the circumstance. But again, the referee did not call too much about that. That call for me is a bit disappointed. And then for me, I know Pietrangelo have no back background with some kind of suspension like that. But still, you want to protect your star. You want to protect the best player. Imagine you lose now Tresado for the rest of the playoff. And
Yeah,
that's the fans, not only the players, but the fans losing an amazing, great hockey player. And then maybe turn around that series over. So for me, you leave another
absolutely.
message behind that for the rest of the people. Say, you know what? You're not going to play like this in NHL. You want to be stupid, you're going to pay the price. And then you go with 2 games versus 1 game.
Absolutely, and it's like taking command of the game from a referee's point of view from the beginning. It's exactly the same type of scenario. This can only escalate if now Edmonton decides to play a much rougher brand of hockey, and they have some of the players that are doing that. But one thing we're seeing this year, coach, is that they're standing up for each other. It doesn't matter who the player is. If somebody, it's the all for one and one for all kind of mentality here, and they're not going to let anybody take cheap shots at them.
Yeah, I'm sorry about this. A lot of people pop up in the chat. We welcome everybody, moderator, everybody else, and we appreciate a lot. Don't forget, guys, to click on the like. Great comment between each one of you guys. We're not going to go through every one of them. We have a show limited of 60 minutes, 75 minutes, and we want to talk about all the subject we have tonight. And you're absolutely, William, about the referee. We appreciate a lot. Senator, we're not done yet because why, Mr. Senator? Because we have this one here. Keith Jones named the president of the Philadelphia Flyers, and they removed the tag of Daniel Briere. Was just a question of time. We know Keith Jones has been a good many years in NHL as a hockey player, and then become maybe a bit more known as a analyst in the NBC Sport and the NHL Network and the other. And he worked many years as a Comcast as an analyst too on the TV with the Flyers. So you know that be a part of the Flyers also. 2 ex-players play for the Flyers have been play for them. Now they are in charge about that team after they fire the manager Fletcher last year. Join Tortorella. So what do you think about that new direction of the Flyers?
Well, it's not that surprising to me because Philadelphia does try to keep a lot of their hirings within the organization and within the alumni, and we've seen that happen over and over again. Which, on the one hand, makes sense. I get that. There's that loyalty sense. There's the sense that the organization well and can go from there. Like with Jones, it's very simply, like I'm sure he knows his hockey very, very well. The only thing I would question here is he's kind of been removed from the direct contact of being in the NHL for the years that he's been an analyst, and it's a different breed. Like you really have to be on top of the game, not from only a knowledge perspective, but in terms of the operations and what it takes. And that experience I don't see, but it doesn't mean he can't learn it along the way. But it's a higher mountain for him to climb. With Briere, I'm not surprised at all. That was going to happen eventually, and it did. So good luck to him as well in his future endeavors.
Yeah, great point about this. I just want to mention this. What from what you said and from the question from KLS, the Fleur announced Danny Briere is the one in charge about all the decisions for the team about trade and the contract, everything like that. Keith is more about the guys or overview everything for the Flyers, but he's not have the final decision. A little bit like Shanahan example, or was like Sean Burke or Jeff Gordon. So Keith John will be a part of this, but he's going to challenge more the Daniel Briere, the Tortorella, when they take the decision like that, when there's some kind of the negotiation or conversation. He's going to be the guy who will really go about this. But we talk about a trade with the Rangers for this. It looked like, for what I heard from different sources, the Flyers is going to be held about Daniel Briere. So I just want to clarify that situation, because you're right.
Yeah.
He's never been like, and his first as a hockey management business operation is really his first job in NHL whatsoever. He was connected by the way he watched the game every night, everything. I know he knows a lot of the people, but I think it could become a good asset. A little bit for me in the future. I would not be surprised some point. Kevin Weeks can become a guy like a president of the team and NHL at some point. I just put this on the table, Mr. Tap.
Interesting.
And there are a
Yeah.
few people knock the door. Devon Hart is in the house. Nobody care about the Devils, but he winning 2-1, Mr. Natap. We care, Mr. Devon. You at Devils
Of
because KLS
course.
is the Carolina Hurricanes, so we follow the game live directly when the time that I'm talking to you, Devon. I'm watching right now the Devils almost knocked, tried to score the third goal, but they're not happening about that. Mr. Natap, finally, we are back this Sunday morning at 11 o'clock. And right now, Luciano prepared with the menu. And he sent us to us, Mr. Natap. I just want to share it with you. He prepared the lunch for the brunch Sunday. You can see a kind of the eggs. You have a crepe. You have a ham. It's a lot of fruit there. The strawberry there too. And the
Waffles.
sausage. And listen, he put everything on the table, Mr. Natap. This is what we got. The chef of the Luciano is going to be live Sunday morning, 11 o'clock. We invite everybody to be a part of the show. Let's go back where we are, Mr. Natap. We just go around the NHL news. We take a little bit more time, but the conversation was great about this. We can talk about the NHL draft 2023, the loser and the winner, Mr. Natap. I know a lot of people talk about the Montreal Canadiens. I'm going to get there very shortly. Just give us maybe a 2 minute about the winner or the loser of the NHL draft. It could be honestly the player or the team if you want to about that. So it's up to you. Just give up what you think.
Well, the way I viewed it afterwards, I mean, there was really only one movement when you stop to think about it. All the teams came in at exactly the same ranking that they went in. So the lottery really didn't affect anybody drastically except for Chicago, who ended up getting the number one selection, and the move with Columbus that went down. So it's no surprise. I think that the teams always adjust to that, and then hopefully they want to see results at the lottery that they land in their direction. I think the big winner, of course, is going to be Chicago because they get the best player out of all of this, and that's Connor Bedard. Definitely a franchise player for years to come. And if they build this right, Chicago could become very significant, but it's going to take a little bit longer because they're at least a couple years behind in terms of their rebuilding strategy. But this definitely gives you a boost in that direction. The other teams I see just as planned as the way things finished off in the season.
Yeah, great comment about that one there. That's right. I think for me, Cannabis is the most losing on that one because they was thinking to get better or Fantasy, they would fill up their center position. Now they have to maybe think about Will Smith. At the Carolina Hurricane made Mr. Tap at 38 seconds at the second period. Brent Burns just knocked it straight
2-2.
again. Second goal of the playoff. Tied the game 2-2. With 38 seconds to go remaining on second period. So I just want sharing this with you. But back again, I think the Columbus is the one losing the most for me. And the winners, honestly, the Chicago Blackhawks and Bedard too, because Bedard is going to be on the, with the original 16, so he's going to be the right spot with that. And I would be fine. A lot of people, what they're going to get? They're going to get Fantilli, in my opinion. And now the Columbus is a big question. Carlson, Smith, I don't see Michkov over there. So
you never know. You never know.
Yep, I don't see Columbus wait 4 years to get Michkov. I know Kelaninen, the general manager, is a guy, he loved the Russian player. If you look about his draft for the last 3 years, he got 3 of them. But I think for me, they Kokanimi just missed Mr. Tap 2 versus 1 with 16 seconds to go, 20 seconds later after the goal. Just give you an idea how it works. But another great shot for the Canes. But for me, I don't think so. Michkov will be number 3rd. But Columbus have a big decision. Smith or Carlson? What do we think will happen to Columbus?
That's a good question. I mean, A lot of it depends on what the teams obviously value. They're all going to be able to see most of these players at the combine sooner than later. They're going to have obviously interviews with individual interviews with a lot of these um, draftees, and a lot of the decisions will come out of those facts alone. Because uh, if they're going to go after their need, it's one direction that they'll go. If they go after the best athlete, then we'll probably see Carlson being taken within the top three in my eyes. He won't drop down to 4 or 5. The key in all of this, coach, is going to be, I think, the number 4 spot, and what is San Jose going to do? Because will they be able to? I mean, they're far away from being contenders right now. They just started their rebuilding process. They might be a team that's might be enticed by that Michkov pick, and then that leaves Montreal in a very precarious situation in terms of where they're going to go, depending on who drops. If Smith falls, I think Smith is going to be the obvious choice. I say that just personally because of his connection with Hughes as well in the U.S. program. And so that's a definite. If Carlson should happen to fall to 5, I think that's the direction that they go. But the more and more I think about, possibly Michkov dropping to 5, I'm not sure Montreal is going to go that direction. I'll be honest with you. It's just at number 5, it's a huge, huge risk. If it gets to probably, if he can drop down to 7th or 8th, where Washington is at right now, I can see that risk being taken, even though Ovechkin's a little bit older. But maybe he's got more connections back home than we all know, and can help facilitate his arrival a little bit earlier. So it'll be very interesting. And the bottom line in all of this is take the 2 or 3 players that are franchise players out of the equation, and probably even this year you can say out of the top 4 or 5, it's a crapshoot. The draft is a crapshoot. Some of these players produce very, very well up until now, and then they don't quite make it to the NHL level, or they make it, but they're not true top 6 players. They're probably bottom 6 players. And then sometimes some players that you select in the later rounds are the ones that really surprise. And the teams that do their homework usually benefit from those picks.
Anthony, I think we answered your question about this. We try up to get Mishkov. They cannot replace for Ovi when he retire about that. So I was coming there, Mr. Natap. So Anthony, we have 3 options for Montreal Canadiens. Mishkov, when they go to do a homework, they're going to really know who he is, what he can do, and what they have by Poprov and all the contact they have. So they're going to figure out if Mishkov is the right answer for the Montreal Canadiens after they do the homework. That's the first option Montreal has. The easy option is Mishkov got picked before Montreal Canadiens, and if it's Carlson Smith, they're going to select one of you, and that's all and nothing else. Does it make sense, Mr. Natap?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
The number 3 is Montreal Canadiens move down. And now they make a trade with the Washington Capitals. And the Capitals pick number 5. And Montreal Canadiens get something in return. So they get the pick number 8. And then after that, they're going to get maybe a prospect, or maybe the 40 overall pick, a second round, and maybe a third round pick for, like I explained for my video a couple of days ago, everything like that. So this is what the Montreal could do if ever they are not sure, if they don't want to go with Mishkov after they do homework, and they believe. Because after that, Mr. Tap, from 6 to 10, I'm talking about Leonard, Benson, Dvorsky, Rinbacher. All right, this is all the option they have, the Montreal Canadiens, in front of them after that. Now, if you go from 5th with Mishkov out, you have 6, 7, and then Montreal Canadiens. Arizona, if Montreal, and I will give you another idea. If Montreal decides to not take Mishkov, like people associate Leonard with Montreal Canadiens, I guarantee you one thing, Mr. Natap. On the May 12th, 2023, coach announced Montreal going to select David Rinbacher. I'm telling you right now, if they select fifth, they're going to go with David Rimbacher for the Montreal Canadiens. This is my feeling I have. If they not move out down to 8, with 8, they could lose. Now they have Leonard, Rimbacher. Rimbacher is going to get number 6, number 7. The Arizona Coyotes, they're going to select Rimbacher differently if the Montreal don't get him. And then the Flyers going to get possible Leonard or Benson, in my opinion. So I open the door for Montreal Canadiens to get maybe Devoski, number 8 example, or maybe another player Wood more. It can go all the way like that, or Benson if the case were there. But I would not be shocking if this all the option Montreal has in front of them. And I don't see any other avenues, at least for what I read, what I learn, and what I consume all the contents left and right. So I don't know if you have anything you want to add about that.
No, I totally agree with most of what you said there, Coach. It's just I don't see Rainbacher being that high. I don't see him reaching like 6 or 7. I think he's more towards 9 or 10. As a matter of fact, you can probably make an argument that Pelika is just as good. He's not as big, definitely. He's, I think, just 5'11" compared to, I think, Reidenbacher's 6'3" or 6'4". So he's got that over him, but I think he's a more complete defenseman at this stage so far. Pelika is. So you could make an argument that he might go before him. But again, it's one of those things that you have to do your due diligence. You have to really talk to these kids. You have to rely on your scouts that they've done their job through the course of the year and have scouted these guys properly, and then make the decision based on what's best for your team.
I definitely do homework, but when you follow a little bit deeper, I take a time for the last couple of days to create some kind of information about Bedard, about Carlson, about Will Smith, and Rainbacher, and whether the target, the Montreal Canadiens. And when you see that, I'm really impressed by Rainbacher. And I think is another one is going to be really a top 10 in my opinion. It will not cross 8. And I think if Montreal don't get Rimbacher, I think Arizona is going to get there. So how high it is now. Yes, some people compare him to Maurice Zetter. I would say, calm down, guy. He's not Zetter. Zetter is a 6'6", and the Zetter could become a Chris Pronger in NHL. And Rimbacher is not a title player like that. The Rimbacher you can get, guys, is a Devon Tays in NHL. That would be really the similar players, and he can get maybe higher. But if you want to compare right now, David Rimbacher is really missing on top. Devon Tays in NHL. Studded first pairing defenseman, can be sometime first. He can be on the second. He play power play sometime. I think that maybe at that age or that moment, there is a little bit advantage, little bit over offensive when I'm talking about carrying the puck and moving the puck on the offensive side, everything like that. But Rainbacher is going to be maybe better at taste on the defensive side, and he's a little bit more physical overall. So it's for his age, play on that level professionally, I think Rainbacher is going to get a lot of great really play really a good asset to become a top 10 in NHL draft 2023. I know people asking me question, who is going to surprise me? Maybe not top 10, but maybe top 15 when nobody see him coming. Is Wander, the defenseman from for the team Sweden. He's going to be really interesting. A lot of people maybe put him in front of Sedin Pelika right now. For Wander, take information about that one there. Is the name could be surprised from 5 to 10 to 20 and maybe low, but it will be right there. I feel it for me, Mr. Top. Unfortunately, I see Benson drop all the way to 9 to 11 possible for Benson. Whatever, a lot of people like him. I think because his size, because other players are increasing their stock. I see Benson drop about this. Don't forget for the Montreal Canadiens, a name David Engstrom. For the team Sweden center as a 29 pick or 17 will be a bit different, but as a 29 pick, David Engstrom. Now, he could be picked before that, but the name a lot of people associate is David Engstrom. Great center for Team Sweden. Play with Otto. I cannot remember his last name, but I think nobody knows much about Engstrom. So I just want to share with you guys about that. About this. So I need now a lot of people talk about Michkov. You watched my video yesterday about the case of his dad, what happening to his dad. I talk about this in the video. A lot of people asking me, can you break out cancel a contract in KHL? But first of all, that's what the dad was trying to do. It was to cancel the contract of his son to move him quickly, rapidly in NHL. The rumor is because of that. That's happened to his dad. We don't know yet. I just got those sources left and right. I'm just sharing with you.
No,
what
it's
I've
just
learned,
speculation.
everything like that. Secondly, I will say to everybody here, nobody left the country or deflect the country like the last 20, 25 years. Maybe Mogini is one of them, but I cannot confirm. I don't know if Mr. Hunter, can confirm about this. Mogini did it or not?
I believe he did, yeah.
Okay. But saying that, nobody happening there. The only player got drafted and play right away in NHL guy is Ovechkin and Malkin. Most of the players get drafted and they take 4 to 6 years before they play in NHL. Same thing with Vasilevsky, example. Same thing with Panarin. Same thing with
Kaprizov.
Kaprizov is a two other one. Kaprizov signed 2 contracts before he came in NHL. He came at 24 years old. Most of the time, come at 22 years old. So it's rare they they cancel a contract. Example, it's happening a couple of weeks ago. The Washington Capitals and the KHL they make an agreement about the Russian kids. It was draft 20 overall pick last year, but otherwise. It's not going to happening. He will complete his contract over there. But and again, all the rumor about what's going on with Ukraine, he's not coming. Listen, guys, the kid's going to play in NHL. Whatever you mention this, at least something a bit bigger around the world, well, we don't know yet. But technically, everything happening in the past in NHL, right? No one KHL refused a player play in NHL. At any moment. They never said to a player, you're not going to play in NHL. They have an agreement. They make some money around that part of there, and he go right there. So I just want to sharing that. Again, I'm not guarantee you anything. I'm just sharing for what I know and what I read and what I learned. So that's pretty much what happening. If we go, Mogini was the last player defect. That's what happening about this. I just want to go back over there. We have a few people knock the door. We welcome everybody. Thanks for being a part of the show tonight. That's what happening to answer to Mr. Sean McIntyre about that one over there, about Michkov. Montreal Canadiens guys, for the Montreal prospect, they sit at 3 players in the playoff, junior. Seattle Thunderbird, Davidson is still with them, and is going to play in the final, and 2 other players from Ontario, OHL. We talk about Owen Beck with Peterborough and then Logan Mailloux with the London Knights. Both of them start the series. They play each other. One of them is going to be at the Memorial Cup. I just want to get that one, everybody, on this one over there. People said that Leo Carlson used to be a franchise talent 2 months ago. What are your thoughts on this? And if Carlson is available at 5th, Mr. Natap?
Yeah, if Carlson is, like I said earlier, if Carlson's available at 5th, I don't hesitate. I take him without a doubt. I mean, this guy can play at center. He can play on the wing. He's got obviously good size. He had a good year as well in the SHL. It would definitely fit the bill. And could you imagine having a line with him and Slavkovsky and maybe somebody like Doc at center, or that's a huge line and tough to contend with or against.
Yeah, exactly about this. William McClary, yes, I was talking about David Ribacher, and then Danny about Montreal Canadiens trade Michkov for Shane Wright. I don't see that Montreal are looking for Shane Wright, Danny. I don't see what the Montreal are looking for that. I try to pick up information right there. For the people, have anything you want to add? Question? No, Mr. Coach, you're talking about the Australian defenseman kid. Yes, William was confirmed.
Yeah.
When the Smith Carlson Mishka would be very good player, it's not a brainer. Just take the best players on the board from N. Rabinoff. Yeah, absolutely about this. I know you talk about Carlson. Do you know, Mr. Natap, you have one problem about Carlson. He fixed it a little bit better. But and I don't know the word in English. You're a teacher. You're going to correct me very quickly. Here, the word I think is stutter, where is a guy or a person have difficult time to talk in front of people. What is the word? Stutter or stutter?
Stuttering is with their speech.
Yeah.
Specifically.
So at young age, he struggled a lot. Carlson, every time he have a presentation to do at school in front of people, he could not go. So he have to fit time.
Really?
At 12 years old, he have to go to the visit kind of the doctor, expert, everything like that to fix this problem. He's getting better, but for many, many years, it was the biggest problem. Why the reason why Carlson is going to be really demand for the Montreal Canadiens? He did the same path like Sarkowski, what you talk about. At 15 years old, he left the north of Sweden and to go south to play at a young age, and he stayed alone in an apartment. He fit himself, and he was like leave 30 seconds from the rink and 3 minutes for the school, and he was always at the rink every single day, and that's what the life of Leon Carlson. I'm going to make a video about him. I read a lot about that guy, and he's going to be a really good fit for the Montreal Canadiens. We talk about the character, we talk about how he compete, and his hockey sense, if that's what the Montreal are looking for. He's a big guy, 6'3", by the way. I'm really impressed for how Leo Carlson is become, and for me, it's not a brainer. You know, at the Columbus Blue Jackets, after the Montreal Canadiens have the biggest decision. If Mishkov is set at 5th for the Montreal Canadiens, Columbus have to figure out, is it Smith, is it Fantilli, or Mishkov? And then after that, I think San Jose is going to figure out about. So everybody have the possibility to get Mishkov are going to be faced a big challenge about that if they want award it or not, Mr. Natap, about this. I tried to pick up a couple of people in the bottom. We welcome everybody. A lot of conversation between everybody here in the chat. We have Danny continues about this. John William is better than Mishkov. For Natap, what are your thoughts on Oliver Moore? Other than his speed, what else does he bring to the table? Mr. Natap.
With Oliver Moore, yeah, I mean his value's gone up quite a bit. I think at one point he was projected to be somewhere in the 15 or so, but it's gone up quite a bit. His hockey IQ is very good. Like he's the kind of guy that brings a lot of energy and skill. He's very quick and fast. He's used to being in those kind of situations, from the U18 worlds, where I believe he played on the power play unit as well. He was on the second unit. He was averaging around, I want to say around 15 minutes per game, 15, 16. And he actually had a great showing at the U18s. He definitely projects, in my eyes, to be a top 6 point producer. But he could also slide in the middle 6 role if that doesn't work, and still remain very effective in whatever opportunity he's given. Now, the nice thing about him, I think he can play on the second line power play for you. This guy can kill minutes on the penalty kill. So he's very versatile, and he's a very competitive individual that is a difference maker in my eyes.
A great point about that. We know he's going to be one of the fastest hockey players in the NHL in the first show, so expect him to be one of the fastest. So a team like New Jersey would love to have him on his team for sure. The only thing he played behind Will Smith, so his talent, his skill, Mr. Natap, is maybe another notch to go. Because he played behind Will Smith, and that's make him a little bit more, and maybe not see have a 75-point last year, but even 60 game, still not too bad. 25 point, 20 game, I believe, or 23 game, if I can recall it. I remember his stat. He's 5'11", it's about 175 pounds for Oliver Moore. But for me, two things, not many dollars. Talk about a guy drive to the net. Talk about a guy compete every single night. Talk about the guy play the game at 200 feet on the 3 zone is really good about this. I try to figure out a player like an NHL what he can do that. Oliver Moore can become maybe not like Patrice Bergeron, but a tighter replacement. Maybe I can describe him like a little bit like Elias Lindholm is an attack for Calgary Flame. That's what you can get possible with Oliver Moore.
Right.
Obviously for him, because the success of the few players like Leonard, Devoski at the U18, Oliver Moore, it could go back all the way out of the top 10, obviously for him. I wouldn't be surprised between 10 to 14 is going to be out of on that. Possible the Buffalo Sabres could get him at 13 if he's still available, or it could go with the Vancouver Canucks too if they don't take a defenseman. So I just want to share him about that. And then Danny for Shane Wright. If Shane Wright was in the draft this year, Danny, just give you an idea, it will be between 9 to 14. Sakoski will be between 8 to 12 and the NHL draft this year. So when you said it's better to Michkov, it's not the same level. Just give you an idea.
No.
It's like I will give you an example. Michkov is Shane Wright. It's about like you talk about Matthews and Kerfoot. That's just it is what it is. I don't I see Shane Wright play maybe center number 2 at low level, a 2C B minus, whatever you want to call it, Shane Wright in NHL. But everything could change with time, Mr. Natap. We have a few minutes, Mr. Natap, to go down and I want to talk about the NHL playoff 2023. Why the blowout? Why the reason behind that, Mr. Natap? Any reason? And I know I did not ask you this question earlier, so I may put you on the hot seat, but it's not the case. But I'm going to helping you or maybe bring you some other things. I think about this a little bit more. But if you have maybe one reason you think why it's happening more and more this year compared in the past. We know right now it's 2-2, but still, what happening this year in the 2023 playoff? Why so many blowout?
It's first of all, it's parallel to what we were seeing in the regular season. I mean, we had a season of many different occurrences. Nothing was consistent. You couldn't really. It was difficult to project or predict the scores as we saw in the warm-up show this year in comparison to last year. And I think that's kind of carried through in the playoffs. Now, there might be a number of reasons for this. Number one, we saw a few upsets in the first round. And so now in the second round, we're starting to see some teams that maybe don't have the elite type of goaltending and or they have an inexperienced goaltender. Like if you look at, Skinner is a rookie. You look at New Jersey, with Schmidt as a rookie. And there's a couple of others out there. The only one that really has a little bit more pedigree and experience would be Ottinger right at this stage. Now we have Wall in net for Toronto as well. Yet another rookie, right? So it's hard. It's in today's NHL. It's become so big and strong and demanding physically to have that type of goalie that has that endurance to go the full distance. It's becoming more and more relevant and important that every team has a very competent backup, and in some cases, as we're seeing, to have 3 goalies as well. So that's one area. The other area I would say is it's just as much of a mystery to me. If you look at all the games in the playoffs, I think I haven't checked it lately, but at one point, 60% of the games were won by the road team. So it's against what you would tend to believe, and it goes against most reason, especially when you have your fans. But it's the pressure, and if you don't have the players that can handle that pressure, because the NHL is becoming younger as we're seeing day to day. Um, and you don't have that experienced voice on your roster that knows how to sort of tame and bring down the team a little bit, you're going to get these games where there's blowouts, I think. I mean, those are two things in my mind that stand out and are possible contributors to why we're seeing some of these blowouts.
Yeah, great point here about the situation about this. I'm just going to add one thing here. Is about, first of all, look, I bring this to you and I bring the chat, and you did the same thing. As the league is getting younger, right? But
Yeah.
one thing I would add with that is the league is getting smarter, more talented, more skill-wise. You talk about the four line, Mr. Natap, they can score now. You never see this before in the playoff. It's a league where it's all about scoring. It's a league about everybody can score in your lineup because they are talented and they are fast. So before it was more like more like less of them, and it was more for specific role, like I don't want to call them an enforcer, maybe the best name about that, or play more physicality, everything like that. And that was tried to go that direction in the last 10, 15 years. With the lack of the structure on defensive, because the hockey is so good with the speed on the transition, the evolution of the defenseman, the position helping to the league to score more goals too. That helping them with more skill, more talented. Put this all together, and that's the reason why the power play perform better too at the same time.
Yes.
So Edmonton take advantage of that. Our other team right now, they can carry on a 30% more goal on the power play. So when you think about this, and that's the reason, maybe we feel like the goalie are not good enough. It's just because the players are more better. That's at the end of the day, that's happening. So that at some point, the goalie have to readjust, and during the summer, the team, we have to figure out how we can stop power play more now. They play more a 1-2-2. How they you have a good example last game, I think, was Edmonton. They collapsed more, and they was trying to stop the Vegas Golden Knight power play. It was a great description I saw on the TV, and maybe make a video about that. But at the end, this is the reason why I believe the blowout happening more in NHL. And put all together, all the dots connect together. I think that's a good reason. Not saying we have a perfect solution, the perfect knowledge about that, but I think that give you a little bit more information about that. I don't know if you want to add something else.
No, I think we covered quite a few relevant points there.
That's good. Thought unless a guy need cartilage replacement, if he possesses maybe influence carry price decision to get surgery. King, I'm not sure about this because let's a guy expect to come back in NHL. And they are not the same age, and they are not the same situation about their career. That's not Seg Price. I don't think so. He was thinking about this. Lendagard play a gamble here. If you follow the story about Lendagard, he's going to miss it the following year again. But it was gamble this year to make a surgery, but with a little bit more to go deeper, and that's happening, and never going to turn around to fix his own solution. So he took many opinions for different doctor, and all of them are small to require him to have a new surgery, and that's happening for him for Lentagag. Here we go, everybody. And Mr. Natal, we have so much good people in the chat. Luc Lafortune respond. William Leclerc respond. You guys are amazing. Great question about the run with King, and that concludes the show, Mr. Natap. With that, I have so many other things. I don't want to talk too much, Mr. Natap, about different series and the playoff right now. But I want to finish with that, is the Toronto Maple Leafs, and I'm going to open the door for the Fleur Panthers. But the Toronto Maple Leafs, Mr. Natap, is coming for the question for run. A lot of questions from Kings, other people. Unfortunately, we cannot go through for the Montreal Canadiens tonight. We'll just try an overview for this week. Come back Sunday morning. We're going to talk all about the Montreal Canadiens and a little bit of the playoff. But Mr. Natap, is it too late? Everything was saved 1 week ago. Life was great, and we have already a contract on the table for Dubas, and Cave could sleep for the next 2 years with no problem. Now, the sweep almost there for the Fleur Panthers versus Toronto Maple Leafs. Bring back the same old question. Is it over? Is it done? And now it becomes that area over there. Now, with 1W, some people see again the parade back in the Toronto. I don't think so, but there's a subject for the time for that one there. Now, Ron asks you, do you think they can come back, win the next 3 games and become another team, come back from deficit 3-0 and win at 4-3? I'm not sure about that, but is it too late, Mr. Natap, for whatever happening to Friday night and they lose, example, or they maybe lose the game number 6, to keep the management and don't see any change inside of this organization? What you thought about that situation with Toronto Maple Leaf?
Well, first to answer the question, is it possible? Absolutely, right? Nothing is ever impossible. And let's face it, the Leafs are a very solid team in many aspects. So they have the capability of doing it. The actuality of it, I mean, 4 teams have done it in history. There's a reason in the whole history of the league why it hasn't been duplicated very often, and that's because it I mean, to win 4 games in a row is a difficult task. Teams tend to adjust from game to game. So in this game, rest assured that Florida's going to come out and tweak a few things in their game for tomorrow night and offer probably a different problem than what we saw the other night, right? So the question is, can the Leafs escalate their play some more? And again, the answer is yes, but we haven't seen the best game out of Toronto, and we haven't seen the best game out of Florida yet. What we've seen is so far a dominance in goaltending from Bobrovsky, at least until Wall came in. And even then, he's played better. But also, it's the forechecking. I didn't see that in the last game as much a factor as in the previous 3 games, but Florida does an excellent job of that. Now, my fear for the Leafs is the following. Even if they do plunge forward and go to the next round or even 2 rounds or to the Cup finals, are we masking a problem here with these victories, right? And if you think that there is a problem in the composition of this team, and everybody's gonna get their contract back, nobody's gonna be moved around, then what's to change the outcome at the end of the day, right? If they haven't won the Cup in X amount of years under this management and with these players, what's going to change now, right? So maybe the winning might mask a bigger problem, and that's to determine how to tweak this team in such a way that they become a little bit more playoff successful.
Great point about this, Mr. Tap. I'm going to give you an example here. And I'll bring other subjects so people can talk about this. You can see what is missing between Toronto and Florida for me. Is the forechecking, right? The physicality of Florida playing a little bit under the skin. Whatever, Toronto a little bit advantage overall, in my opinion, about the series. Like, the series could be 2-2 very easy. Could be 3-1 Toronto if they are a little bit bounce lucky for them, or maybe score that goal. They never come because of performance Bobrovsky. But overall, Mr. Tap, for a couple of years, the same problem was said with the Florida Panthers. They was a soft team. And we know the word soft is not the properly, like, you don't want to hear that. But it wasn't a team, Mr. Tap, in the past had those kind of character inside the organization. They was really soft overall. When you talk about a couple of years ago with Huberdeau, Barkov, Ekblad, all right? So what they did, they made that kind of transformation. And you saw with Bill Zito. If you think about this, what they did, at first, they get Patrick Orvis for the Pittsburgh Penguins. What is a player going in front of the net and you hate to play against him? That was the first move they get. Then after that, they get Sam Bennett. Sam Bennett is a guy you don't like to play against him. You can see the reaction of the fans all around the NHL. He's tough, right? Orvis is tough. Then what they did, they trade Huberdeau to get Tkachuk, to get that kind of the toughness and front the forward. Then what they did, they got Kudos. on the UFA to get him inside this organization to bring what toughness again. Before that, they have Mason Marchand. They got him from Toronto. Then before that, they got Rand Longbird to get there. So what they changed for the last 2 years, and they can become now the fruit of the seed and pick it up now, is they turn around that soft team to become a toughness team where they bring like some kind of physicality in the game with a great forechecking, everything like that. It's not a perfect recipe yet, but it's getting there. And they have a better chance now to go all the way because Zito understood what is missing, the piece of this puzzle. And that's what the Toronto Maple Leafs need to get there. And basketball, at some point, and I'm not said this way, but maybe it costs Huberdeau, Mr. Tap. What it would cost for Toronto is Marner.
Matthews. No, I think Matthews, coach.
The problem with
Matthews
is because he score goal. What you get with Huberdeau is a prototype like Marner. He cannot score a lot of goal, but he can pass the puck every time like that. And I think for me, it's rare to get a center 6'4" can score 40 goals in NHL. So my point to you is you put around, it's a little bit like happening with Mr. with Matthews, exactly with Barkov. Look about him. Barkov don't produce, but Florida Panthers get there because they play physical. So you surround Matthews with a player like physicality like Tkachuk. And again, I don't know who to trade about this. But a Barbashev example, one of them. And Devils got pat up. But I said to you, if you use the modern players, a 96 point and 100 point, and you get a physicality for checking, I don't have no name on my bank now. I've just opened the door that way over there. But I want to take the example, the Florida Panthers, who they are today versus what Toronto never been yet. And I don't say the series is going to win for Florida. I'm not saying the winner. I just give you another view perspective for me outside of two teams. I'm not a fan, right? I'm just talking about hockey. I give you other things. So I don't know where I can understand your point of view about Matthew, but maybe go a little bit deeper about that subject if you don't mind.
Well, for me, I see that changes need to be made in Toronto. Like I said, this is not a one-off or two-off. Like this has been happening for quite a while, and the results have always been the same, with the exception of this year where they couldn't get out of the first round. And we're starting to see remnants of that same type of play here in the second round, and for many different reasons, as you've outlined so nicely. I look at it more from the perspective, I'm not seeing the type of leadership out of Matthews that is needed from an elite type of player. All right. And I'm saying he is in that category. He is an elite player. But come playoff time, you don't see that same grit as you do in a Tkachuk. You don't see that ability to fight back when confronted. And I'm not saying it has to be a straight out fight or something like that, dropping the gloves. But you know what? Making his physical presence. If he's a tall centerman, then he should be making his presence known. And he does anything but that. And the other perspective I'm looking at is, who gives you a huge haul back in terms of either players or prospects or picks. And I think that's Matthews. Like there'll be teams lined up to try to bid for his services. And I'm sure that they'll be able to offer you quite a bit. Because if you look at the Leafs' future in terms of draft, they don't have very much. Like if you look at their next 3 years in the first and second round, I think for the next 3 years, they only have, I think, 1 first and 1 second left in those next 3 years. So, and they don't have much in terms of the minors in terms of, say, they're coming up. I mean, we saw Matthew Knives, of course, is starting to fill that vacancy, and he's going to be a good one, you could tell. But that's far and few from what you need. So I just think he brings you the biggest haul in return. And it's a direction where you can change your fortunes of the team in a quick fashion, but you have to be able to do it with a team that's going to give you the right types of players.
Yeah, I can understand your point of view. I would say just one more thing behind that is just for me, it's harder to find a 6'4" center as a winger in NHL. That's the only thing I
Yeah,
would say. I
Montreal
would be a
is
little bit more. I would be a little bit more concerned about that one over there for that. And again, I don't said like I don't say I'm right, or I don't said you're wrong, or I don't said
no,
we
it's
just
true.
opened
Yeah.
the door. Open. I just want to give an example what Fleury did in the last 2 years to turn around the table and to figure out what it was the biggest problem versus a team never figure out the biggest problem, and they try to patch up with Nick Foligno, Ryan O'Reilly, McCabe this year, a couple of years ago. You know what I mean? Like they try Jason Spencer. I can go all the way. You know already everything. It's just they never find the right recipes for the leave at the end of that part. So I just want to open the door here, guys. Nothing wrong with that. Now we have one more question and a tap happening here in the chat, and I'm going to
Has to
remove
be the
this.
last one.
Yeah, the last thing is on top is about the rumor is 5th round pick Montreal for Pierre-Luc Dubois.
No, I don't give it up. I like Pierre-Luc Dubois for many reasons, but when you sit back and you really analyze it, first of all, I would not give it the 5th. I'd have to think long and hard for the Florida pick, perhaps. But there's certain flags that stand out with Pierre-Luc Dubois, his consistency. Like you've said on many occasions, he hasn't really produced an 80-point season to date, even though we have seen improvement. He does have a lot to offer in terms of his size, his physicality, his ability to score. He's got a great shot. He's not afraid to get into the mix. But I want that game in and game out. I don't want an Anderson type of player, a glorified Anderson. I think that could go in a negative direction and real fast. And when he hasn't really produced for,
but I do to lower because the internet comes fast enough. We'll see. If you're still live with me, let me know. I'm going to be here, right here. I will be back right here. Don't forget, there was an old bracket here. You can get him in 13 months. I just follow it with Pierre-Luc Dubois about that. The only thing I would say to you guys about the 5th Montreal Canadiens, I don't see them to trade for Pierre-Luc Dubois right now. I think my answer you already knows is about the following year. Wait, we'll see when he become a UFA, everything like that. I think it'll be the best for the Montreal Canadiens for this. And I want to finish with that part of there, guys, is more about the goaltending situation. What I learned for the last couple of days, I read a lot and I take some research about the goalies. This has become a big problem in NHL, the goalies. And if you look about this part, guys, if you don't have a really good goalies, hard to perform. And that would bring my video for the Montreal Canadiens today or tomorrow about the fact like Montreal could have a setback because they don't have no goalies and their team. So that's the biggest problem with the Montreal Canadiens in the next couple of months or couple of weeks for that. There will be something they have to figure out. Montreal Canadiens have to select a goalie soon they can. And to figure out maybe someone can become a regular starter in NHL if they want to have a better direction to become a good team in the NHL. And it's not easy, guys, to find those kind of goaltending like anything. It's rare when you draft 5th, 6th, 7th round pick and you become a solid goaltender in NHL. I did some search in 2017. I look about 2012. Between 2011 to 2017, the player goalie become a solid goaltender in NHL. It takes 6 years. An average of 6 years before you become a starter in NHL and you become a consistency, a goaltender in NHL, 45 games per year. So it takes time to develop those kind of goaltender. And I'm not guaranteeing Montreal right now they have anyone to become a goaltender number one. You can go take a chance at UFA, or you can go on the trade but that's the only way. The last couple of years, the goaltender, the first round are Wellstad, Kosa, and Askarov for the Nashville Predator. A little bit earlier, you had Jake Ottinger, and you have to go with a little bit lower with Vasilevsky. Carter Hart is another one, but again, it's rare you get a great goaltender. The point of my video at the end would be that my purpose is can Montreal Canadiens select one at the 37? I want to be the selection for the upcoming NHL draft, or a little bit too early. But the one are getting at the earlier round, number 1 or number 2, or the one become a little bit more regular to become a goaltending and goaltender number 1 in NHL. Again, I opened the door a little bit here, guys, but I was just want to sharing with you about that. For that, the team don't want to invest on the goalie too much money. Look, the salary of the goaltender, look, is you right, is one of the lowest in NHL. Most of the goaltender are about $5.2, $5.5 million. The best, a little bit, as only 5 or 7, I think, now at over $6 million. That's it, that's all. Bobrovsky, Price, Vasilevsky are the highest number of the money. Chesterkin is at 5.2, 5.5, and that's what they are at this moment. So Primo, Nate, another 3 more years. Get on. That's pretty much what you think about this. Unfortunately, he's going to be on the waiver. It's worth saying a team-friendly contract. You will sign him at $6-7 million and enough. Montreal knows what to do to get a good goalie. Find a weaker team. Check if the kid is in the net. Is good even if I have to bat stat. For that, one of them is the Patrick Roy, Francois. Again, it's not easy to find those kind of goalies. Roy, guys, was not, it was a, 135 overall or 4-round pick, if I can recall it, or a late 3rd-round pick for Patrick Roy. So it was not easy for that. So I just want to open up the door, guys, for the goaltending. If you have any question you want to add right now, I'm still alive until 9:30, and then I'll take a break. I will go to start the second game of the night. If you follow me, we're going to do the game between the Kraken versus the Dallas Star. It's still 2-2 right now between the Devils, and with 6 minutes to go remaining for that. And after kidnapped by Dubois. Yeah, he has some kind of problem internet for what I heard. How often does a franchise goalie come around per ticket? Not many King of Gamer, if you think about that. You know, you have that kind of late pick because the Chesterkin, Sorokin, the goaltending of the Russia. But if you think about all of them, only Vasilevsky was draft pick earlier, 19th overall pick in the last 12 years, if you think about this King. So it's not easy to find the right one. Askarov, unfortunately, I apologize, is another one, the 10th overall pick by the Nashville Predator, 10 or 11 a couple of years ago. But most of them, guys, are draft late, and they become a goaltending, a regular goaltender, and NHL. Tomorrow, if the Leafs lose, Luciano, you talk about, I think the team will have a first and a first B4 goalie. No more Clay Cup, not anymore. Ron Leafan only then. But he could wait because what as an awful stat. What about Subban, the goalie brother, is still in the Montreal. You talk about the goalie brother, John Mickelson. You talk about Malcolm Subban. No, the last time he was with the Buffalo Sabres, he was drafted John Subban by the Boston Bruins. But he never reached the NHL. I think he was a 26th overall pick as the first round. And he never reached the NHL. Like, he never been a goaltender for Boston. Maybe a couple of games. He turned around to go around a different team in NHL, like Chicago, example. He been a couple of games with the Buffalo Sabres before that. But unfortunately, he's not going to make it like a regular goalie in NHL. Do we have the BBation with Montembeault and Primo? The Primo problem is the waiver situation for the upcoming year. He's going to be... he's not going to be exempt anymore. So if they return him in Laval, he's going to be on the waiver list. So maybe another team can pick him up for sure. And for the Montembeault, we don't say he's not going to be a regular goalie in NHL. He's just not there. He's 27 years old guy. He took him again, another goaltender, 3rd-round pick draft. And by the Panthers, it took him over 5-6 years to become who he is right now. Can he become a goaltender number 1? I don't know yet. I just want to tell you what's going on with that, with Primo. Coach, what do you make the rumor Patrick Roy joined Ottawa Senator? That's a rumor get out a couple of days ago. It could be there. Luc Lafortune, again, until the owners are not announced who's going to be owners, those situations with the Ottawa Senator is just like a rumor and not with many foundation. I think the team to announce the new owners are going to take a decision. What do you do with Pierre Dorion, with the coach DJ Smith, and then those kind of situations you can add a Patrick Roy like a special advisor, whatever it is on the role of Patrick Roy. I wouldn't be surprised this could happen for that one. Luciano, look about this. Great question, by the way. What would you trade Florida pick if it was a GM coach? What would you trade Florida pick for is Whitaker? The problem with that pick, King, is 17 versus 29, 30, 31, 32. So it's very hard to discuss about. We don't know yet the draft pick of Montreal Canadiens with the Florida Panthers. One, that team will be sell for the Montreal Canadiens. Now you can be looking about what kind of player they can get, who they can get, and what he can do with the draft pick, Kane. Again, ask him to get you and shall to get not possible anymore. Yeah, I think we think about this. Is it better for Toronto Maple Leafs get eliminated again number 4, or it would be worse to get eliminated in Toronto tomorrow night at the Scotiabank? Because the reaction of the fans is going to see all the kind of stuff happening there. But again, I think for me, this is good. The end of him about that. François Pitts, forget about Primo. Let's wait and see with Montembeault. How you'd make a coin to see an NHL game more affordable for the community? Any of these? How would you make a coin? But you have some kind of deal with, you have some kind of deal, King, where you can get a family package, everything on that package. It is what it is. A sport now is a cost a ton of money to get there. That's the only thing. Now you have some friend player gave away ticket for a suite over there too, but you have not many ID over there because the cost is too much. King to get there. It's just for me. I don't think so. I can afford it if I was living in Quebec and USA. At least I get a free ticket. Rumor going around Donald Trump to buy senator. Yeah, you owe to pay out the God $5 to get in on the corner Carlton. Goalie of the future is under QM. Gabriel something Daigle for next year. Yeah, you talk about Daigle for the Victoriaville Tigre or the Tigre. No way, Luciano. Patrick was DJ Smith. For that, he won it a USA team in the 80s. Luc Lafortune is all about selling ticket. Benny. Paul, good to see you. Thanks so much, Paul, to stop by. I would appreciate a lot. Bruce Boudreau would be good in Ottawa. I think he can get them into the playoff and Rabinov. The problem with Boudreau, guys, is like, all right, it's time to go with youngest generation coach in NHL. Same thing with Pedro Laviolette. Same thing with Gérard Galland. Mike Babcock is not there anymore. Joel Kelville, Joel Kelville right now is the NHL jail right now. With Logan Mailloux, but that's another subject for another time. But that would be for me and Rabinov. It's time to go with younger, the Benoit Groux. You have so many good coaches in American Hockey League and NCAA and whatever they are. And why not to go with the guys, the same. And what they win? Boudreau win the Stanley Cup with Vancouver? No. Can Gallant win the Stanley Cup with Rangers? No. Can that team perform better? I don't think so. I can go all the way like that. And Rabinov for that. What would make me quit NHL altogether? What would make me quit NHL that the trader don't need Ottawa and they don't need this sudden graph of money? King, do you think Chicago will finish at the bottom with Connor Bedard at the lineup? I would say to you at the bottom 5, King. Right now, we don't know what's going the lineup, the roster. We don't know the NHL yet. I will better answer for you in October. But for me right now, for what they have, a bottom 5 and maybe bottom 3. But then need to put a stop the circus going to Ottawa. Enough with the all-day survey and has been, I want to put the name. I remember hearing something about the can I Renault out. John told of the What's Gaffer. Next year would tell us a lot. François Pitt, you nailed it about Montembeault. Apparently, Ren Roller and the Senator is no to go. Really look, here we go. I thought, let's say go. But Mr. Grady with Ottawa. Canville and Bangkok is NHL Jill. Do you expect Arizona to be a better team this season? Very interesting with Arizona, right? They become six now draft. They get a little bit better. Now with front player, they're going to add possible. They have a couple draft. They pick what? Number 6, number 12. That's give them two solid players for the upcoming years. Not next year, but the next 2 years. I still believe they're going to be at the bottom 10, bottom 8 overall for the Arizona next year. Getting close to now a Jersey game. Let's go Devils. Still 2-2 with 2:32. Paul at Devon Reynolds just saw the ball and choke out. Exactly, Vinny. Canada will need try to end this tonight. William McClary. Yeah, I'm sorry about that. Luciano, did you forget about the Tortora, Ruff, and Maurice? There we go. Now, Lindy Ruff, look, it was been for the Devil for a couple of years. It's not to end. I understand your point of view. I just feel for me, why not to bring other players, other coaches in NHL? Carolina just knocked the door at the end. A great defensive. The Devils don't want to get eliminated tonight, and Carolina tried to eliminate the New Jersey Devils. So that's pretty much what we got tonight, guys, on this special edition of the Hockey Nation Live Tonight Show. We're going to repeat this couple of times the next couple of days. We have a time. We go late game. I think we're going to do that. Just give you a little bit an overview what's going on in NHL. And with all the kind of subject we got with Pedangelo and Donaldus, both of them are suspended for game number 5. That's happening today in NHL. And the nomination of Zorokin Alibak and Ulmark as the nomination of the Vezina Trophy, and Pasternak with McDavid and Carlson, the Ted Lindsay Award for the outstanding player in NHL. So that's what we got, guys, tonight. So what are you doing, Coach? Who is the backup, the Kraken backup goalie? Martin Jones right now, king for them. Coach Buffalo forever. Luc Lafortune, you're absolutely right with the Buffalo Sabres. So I'll be back in the next 5 minutes, guys. We're going to follow the game between the Kraken and the Dallas Star, or maybe consider the game. If the game is on overtime, I have to figure out with the switch. Don't forget, guys, click on the like if you don't mind. If you don't mind, that'd be great. We want to thank NRTAP for his participation as a co-host. Now it's appear like a co-host. And definitely we want to thank all the moderators to be with our Canadian show tonight. Very kind of you to be there with us tonight and consist to support and help the Hockey National Show to grow properly. Finally, the people in the chat with great questions like King, Luc Lafortune, Save G, and KLS, and many others, guys. You've been great inside the conversation. You consist to sharing a lot of knowledge about hockey. William McClary is another one. I can go all the way, guys. You know who you are. But we want to thank to you. Thanks so much, Francois Pitt, and many others. Until the next time, my friend, in the next 5 minutes, we'll be back for the game between game number 5 between the Dallas Star host the Seattle Kraken. Until then, my friend, one more thing to tell you, one more. Now, you know what I'm talking about.
You are awesome. You are amazing. You are the best. And remember, you have greatness inside of you.
Yes, you have greatness inside of you. I just want to remind you one more thing, that be well, be held, find a way not only dominate your day, find a way to dominate the first half of what? Your 2023. Have an amazing, great night, everybody. I'll see you in the next couple of minutes, and I can wait to see game number 5 between the Dallas Star and the Seattle Kraken. And the game, guys, at Carolina and usually are going to be an overtime. Until then, my friend, remember, of course, we love you, people. Talk to you very soon. Thanks again to join the Hockey Nation Live Show tonight.